Welcome to the Artificial Future podcast hosted by the Gruber Companies. I'm Pete Gruber. We have a number of items to discuss with you today. Pretty exciting stuff, actually. The first one is the image behind me. We've been using ChatGPT-4 to generate images, and we're finding that it's actually doing a better job than Midjourney. This particular one, the prompt was, give us an image that represents artificial intelligence. And it looks like a gigantic brain with little round robots in the grassy fields. And there are some humans in there somewhere. Way in the back there, you can see them. So it does look like planet Earth. And we always try to pick a cool backdrop for these podcasts. So one of the first things that's pretty exciting that happened this week was ChatGPT with voice is now available to all free users. You can download the app on your phone and tap the headphone icon to start a conversation. And I've been using it most of the week, actually. It's much easier than, typing, of course, and it reminds me of what I do with Alexa when I get home, or Siri on my phone. You can actually use voice commands and get voice responses. Cool new feature that's available for those of you interested. It's an application. How would they, if they have a ChatGPT subscription, does it come automatically?
Well, so you're saying, I don't know what article you're reading from. You said the free users have it?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it doesn't really, they don't need an account then. If the free users have it, they can just go to ChatGPT and use it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was a Twitter tweet. X post, saying that from OpenAI that ChatGPT with voice is now available to all free users. So give it a shot. I think you'll like it.
Have you, when you've been using it this week, how does it compare to like using Siri, or how do you interact with it?
Oh, infinitely different. It's eerie. It's like talking to a human being.
Is it really?
Yeah. Yeah, nice. And I've got other examples of that when we get into the build your own ChatGPT. And that process was, again, eerie because it kind of reinforces the fact that there's something far more intelligent than Alexa or Siri behind the veil or behind the curtain.
Yeah, how do you call to it? Is it similar to Siri, like "Hey Siri," and then it pops
hey,
up?
ChatGPT or something?
Yeah, actually, with the voice-generated version, there is a pair of headphones. There's a headphone icon.
So you just open the app and
tap on the headphone icon. A little round white ball pops up, and when it's no longer moving, it's time for you to speak. And then when it's thinking, it actually grows and expands a bit, showing you that it's thinking.
Then instead of text coming back, it talks back to you.
Totally, yes, yeah. All voice.
That's cool.
All right, so let's talk about the future of chatbots, but we've got a couple of questions coming in here. Handle those first. TikTok, Ben is joining us. Welcome. He said, I just yesterday got an AI image app. It's pretty neat. Yeah, it's like, it's addicting. And I find myself just playing with it for an hour or two, and then I ask myself, why did I just waste an hour or two on this? It's highly entertaining, though.
Yeah.
Facebook, Rafa Winata says, hello, I'm from Indonesia. Well, thank you for joining us. We've got people from all over the planet on these podcasts. And for those of you chiming in, let us know where you're from. It's always interesting to the rest of the viewers what kind of a global reach these tools have, these podcast tools. So talking about now the future of chatbots. Here's an article that says that chatbots are poised to play a transformative role in the future of the internet, revolutionizing the way we interact with information and services online. Their ability to engage in natural language conversations and provide personal assistance will make them an indispensable tool for business, consumer, and individuals alike. And then they talk about these different categories. For business, chatbots can serve as virtual customer service reps, providing 24/7 support and handling frequently asked questions. They can also be used to collect customer data, identify leads, and even close sales. Chatbots can also personalize the shopping experience, recommending products and services based on individual preference. And you've probably noticed that when you're on social media, it tends to curate your interest. You know, yesterday you typed in, look for a particular product, and the following day you've got all kinds of ads streaming in. So someone's paying attention, listening, and watching your preferences.
Well, that thing that it said in that statement there was about customer service reps and sales reps. Did you want to talk about that? I don't know if we've talked about that on this podcast yet, how you used it to show our sales manager.
We can, yeah. In fact, we can move right into that. Let's do that. So once I got my voice, chatbot capability, I sat with 3 managers who are running call centers here in our businesses, and I wanted to show them what the capabilities were. So I asked, for example, in one division, which our critical power division, which handles service agreements and service on critical power equipment. And my prompt to the voice chat was, we have a customer that has faithfully renewed their service agreements year after year. And this last year, we did not get a renewal. A company came along that had a better price, and the customer went with that company. How should we deal with this? And what it came back with was a marvel. It was, my phone seems to be.
You set that off on the chair or the ground or something. It's going through your mic.
On the car.
Okay.
So it was amazing, the knowledge that it had and the strategic thinking it was capable of in how to handle a customer like this. And it encompassed not just the obvious things. We'll call them, talk to them, find out why they made the change, but the psychological elements. You don't want to make the customer feel guilty. You want to leave the door wide open. And it went through a number of different strategies like this with myself and the manager sitting there. And after it got done, the manager said, how do we put this out on the sales floor? Make this available to our account managers.
Well, so real quick, from your business perspective of 40 plus years, however long doing this, is that accurate that, you don't want to put pressure on the customer? There aren't effective ways to put pressure on it. Is this more of, I'm asking, is ChatGPT's answer more of like a politically correct answer, or do you think it was actually really accurate?
It was complex and combinations of everything that you mentioned. And the first thought that came to my mind is we have dozens of salespeople here. And the people on our staff that would have been able to give this kind of a response to a customer, number maybe 1 or 2 in that group of people.
Wow.
They're the senior account managers. They're the most successful account managers. And ChatGPT out on the floor now is going to train our salespeople on how to be more effective. And there's another reason I say that. At the end of the suggestions on how to handle this customer, it then explained why it was orchestrating it in a particular order and how it was preserving the psychology of this customer. Is preserving the ego, in other words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and even then, when you get the response, if you don't like it, you can always ask it, be a little more assertive or be a little less aggressive, or however you can do adjustments to it too. So,
and that's the part that gets eerie. As I mentioned earlier, it's like talking to an intelligent human being, a mentor that is guiding a process. Mm-hmm. And I'm not used to that with Alexa and Siri. They're fairly rote process, dumb as a post, as I usually say at home. So that's how we handled that. And of course, that manager now is sold. We are now getting subscriptions for our account managers, and they will have augmentation. They will have ChatGPT 4 available at their desktops to handle situational, responses like this. I went to another manager in another call center here, and the question posed there was, we have a customer that used to buy lots of product from us, and we have a CRM so we can track what's happened to the business. And as we've grown, some of these customers have just been pushed by the wayside, unfortunately. An account manager leaves, the relationship has ended with the primary person that they had found here, and the business typically then migrates to other vendors or to our competitors. So the question in this case with this manager was, we have a customer that used to buy from us regularly. The account manager here left, and the business has dried up. How do we approach this customer to restore or to revive this business? Well, again, it was an aha experience for me and the manager, and it wasn't a tough sell getting these managers to agree to putting this augmentation method out on the floor so that the account managers have tools at their disposal. And we also then agreed that only the senior members in this call center would be capable of this high-level response to a customer. And it gave us a strategy on how to revive this customer. At one point, the manager says, this sounds like you. Talk to them. Don't email. Don't text. Humans still do business with humans. And it requires a conversation. It requires probing. It requires small talk. All of the things that we as humans feel comfortable with that establish a connection. So anyway, that's the story on how we handled or how we're now integrating artificial intelligence into our business. And we'll have a lot more to report because as we actually begin to implement, we will have training sessions with the account managers, for example, how to do prompt generation. We've talked about that endlessly. There is a viable future in people that learn how to generate prompts to use AI.
That's what I was just saying to you before the show started too. The team at Microsoft is about to release a prompting strategy guide from their chief science officer on how to do the best prompts, how to get the best results, to get exceptional professional results for any industry. So we're going to employ those as well.
And it's absolutely vital because the strength of the result is in the quality of the prompt.
Yeah.
Okay, YouTube, Ramon Hurt, he says, good morning from Tucson. Welcome. We've got Niels joining us from Denmark. He says, good morning, evening in his case. Thanks for joining us. And Facebook, Half Angel, sir, I want to learn in your labs. Can you please teach? Well, we're going to be offering some things in the future that tie into artificial intelligence, and we'll talk about that a bit more. We're generating our own ChatGPT program.
Yeah, custom GPT.
Custom ChatGPT, exactly. So again, getting back to the future of chatbots, which is what opened up this discussion, we talked about how it could be utilized for business to make business more productive and more effective. For consumers, they talk about chatbots providing a more convenient and efficient way to get things done. It can be used to schedule appointments. Right now, I've got this week, we're trying to use up the medical benefits before the end of the year because there's a deductible every year, right? So I've got 2 appointments today, for example. I had one yesterday. And, managing that, I would love to turn that over to someone, either a personal assistant or an AI function that reminds me, this is when you need to be here at this time and all that. They say they can be used to order food, book travel, and even manage finances. You've spent this much, you're not going to be able to make your mortgage payment at the end of this month if you stay on the spending spree. And that's going to help a lot of people if you think about it. Managing finances is a real struggle for some people. Well, AI could definitely do that simple math and advise you what you can and can't spend. And once we have the type of augmentation where you've got a cell phone in your ear, which is already available, it will give you advice as you're starting to reach for your wallet or you see something that you want to buy.
Well, Pete, I think the GPTs also can have third-party extensions. Mm-hmm. So it can connect to your Google Calendar and schedule stuff for you, or it can connect to your bank. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure what level of sophistication they have yet, but all that's coming too soon when they release this GPT network. So,
yeah,
or marketplace rather. So It's going to develop a lot.
Yeah, well, you invest as well. Can you imagine E-Trade alerts coming through your cell phone the instant things are occurring? You know, your lucid position is beginning to tank because of some bad news. Well, maybe you want to get out of that at that point. But having early warning definitely would help you.
And having a GPT in charge of your investment account that has all of the, because if you think about it, you could go out to those investors that sell courses. You can purchase their course, so it's perfectly, it belongs to you at that point. Take all of the course information and upload it into your own custom GPT so that it then becomes a professional investment advisor, and then you put it in control of your investments with certain limitations. You program all that in there. It will do all of the trading for you. You won't even know what's happening, essentially.
Yeah, it'll be automated. Pretty cool stuff. So they continue. Chatbots can provide personalized news and entertainment. There's certain types of news you may not want to see. And as well as access to educational resources. This is for students going to school. It targets your specific needs during a class that you're taking and provides you ample information. Niels is chiming in. He said, good uses for you. In the 1 to 2 years, GPT should be able to learn on the fly too. Search-based and Q-learning based on customer history in your case. Yes, absolutely. It continues to get smarter. So then they here's some specific examples of how chatbots are being used today and how they could be used in the future. E-commerce chatbots can answer customer questions about products, recommend items based on browsing history, and even process payments. Most websites nowadays have a chat function. Well, that requires a human being somewhere to listen to a bell going off and then going to their, flat screen and trying to figure out if they can answer that question. Well, again, AI is far more knowledgeable because it has access to all of the tools within your company and beyond, outside the company. So there's a job that may go away. If you're a chat, an online chat person, that you may start looking for a different job because AI will eventually replace that. Education chatbots, they talk about those that can tutor students. And we talked about this. You're in a class of 35 kids in high school, right? Everybody's got a different learning style. Some are auditory, some are visual, Well, they can't quite accommodate all those, so you don't get the maximum results from the students in that class. AI would be an individual tutor, finely tuned to your own unique needs. And again, mankind would accelerate, improve, and become smarter.
I use this ChatGPT function, not the custom GPTs, but ChatGPT itself, to do web development problem solving. I go to it every single time I run into an error now because it knows. It just has, especially now that they've enabled access to browse the internet. Whenever I run into, we do a lot with WordPress here and different plugins. When I run into issues, I go and I put that out there, and it knows specific API issues. It knows how to isolate issues. It knows how to return all the information, and it gives you a variety of options to try to troubleshoot it as well. So,
it's a tool. It's a very valuable tool.
Yeah, I've been troubleshooting websites for 12 years, and it thinks of things in an instant that I don't have any idea about.
It's funny you mentioned that because this weekend I was working on the knowledge base in our CRM package, which is a Visual Fox Pro based program. And the reason we're staying with a Visual Fox Pro based program, for those of you that do any programming, it's been obsolete for 20, 30 years. But we have such a high degree of customization in the two programs that we use, both accounting and our CRM or our the customer relationship management software package that all the call center or the account managers work in, where they track their customers. It's very difficult for us to pivot into a different software because even though it might be faster, the amount of customization precludes that we should stay with what we have if it's working. All right. So this weekend I was working on the knowledge base. And I'm not a great programmer when it comes to Visual Fox Pro, but I muddle through it. And I usually rely on my co-host here, Mark Schaffner, who is a programmer and works in Visual Fox Pro. Well, he wasn't available. So I was stumped, and I needed to do a keyboard expression, and I had something in that wasn't working. I thought, like you, let me try ChatGPT 4. I can't imagine that it knows anything about a 30-year-old software package,
Yeah.
right? And it's going to help me with the code. It knew precisely what I needed.
Knows all of it. Yeah.
3 times it bailed me out, and it told me what was wrong with my code.
Yeah.
So again, it's and it probably learned every time it did it because AI, improves constantly.
Well, let me tell you one about last night specifically. I was for a client that I was working with. I was connecting their API to a new payment processor,
Mhm.
and it connected successfully, and it gave a 200 OK message, which means the API key worked, it authorized it, connected successfully. But for some reason, the application I was connecting to still threw an error and said, "There's a problem with this API. We received information in the response we didn't expect." I took all that and put it into ChatGPT. Even though it registered and said, "Yeah, this is correct, everything worked, it got a 200 OK message, you connected successfully, but here are 5 or 6 different things you can try to look into to see what may be causing this error to still happen." So even though it got a success message and everything
Right.
points to it being successful, it still gave me a bunch of stuff to look into anyway, which ended up resolving the issue.
It's just amazing. Yes. We're constantly in awe of what AI is able to do. So they talk about troubleshooting problems, resetting passwords, and issuing refunds for a customer service chatbot with healthcare chatbots. Now, here's where it really gets exciting. What has kept mankind from living beyond a certain age is health-related issues. Well, with AI doing analysis and eventually having implants in the human body and optimizing our environment and our internal environment, it precludes the fact that we're going to live longer, we're going to be healthier, we're going to have less pain, less, and better diagnoses. So in the healthcare chatbots, it says it can provide personalized health information, schedule appointments, that's what I need, and even offer virtual consultations. So they continue, as chatbot technology evolves, we can expect to see even more innovation and transformative applications. Chatbots have the potential to make our lives easier, more efficient, and more enjoyable. Then they give the potential challenges that need to be addressed as chatbots become more prevalent. And this is the normal stuff. Privacy concerns. Chatbots collect and store a lot of data about us, which raises concerns about privacy and security. Unemployment. Chatbots could automate many jobs that are currently performed by humans, leading to levels of unemployment. And then bias and discrimination. Chatbots can reflect the bias of their creators, which can lead to discrimination against certain groups of people. All right, so we got the woke group chiming in here. But the question is, do we stop the progression of AI because of these types of concerns? Well, my vote is absolutely not. Let's let this thing evolve. Let's let it grow some legs. Let's see what it can do. Got a bunch of people chiming in here. Niels from Denmark says there are already over 300,000 different open source large language models. Will be interesting to see if open source will outdo proprietary LLMs. I think so. I'll have an example for you later on what we did with our own internal LLM, and we were programming actually this morning a bit, and we were fascinated by the results we were getting. Facebook, Winding Hui View says hello, welcome, thanks for joining us. Facebook, Tim Wood, hello from Texas. Thanks for coming back, Tim. And TikTok, Matt, can AI build me a real dBrid copy?
So that, I think, is a software that's used for downloading content from the internet. Pretty sure that it can. I mean, you're going to have to spend some time with it to figure out, basically reverse engineer that software, but I don't see why it couldn't.
The session that I had this morning, and I'll continue to dive back into that, with the customizable GPT that we're now developing for our in-house use. Again, it was amazing that I was able to converse with this AI entity, basically. It was text at this point. I wasn't using my voice capability, but it was it just seemed like it was limitless. And of course, we're going to test to see where the boundaries are and where it breaks down. But from the session this morning, again, it was an amazing experience. Niels is saying, how will AI help education if all the knowledge is already right under our noses? Suspect the bottleneck will remain the curiosity of the receiver. People knew more when one had to visit libraries. You know, Niels, that is my only concern with this proliferation of augmentation that we're undergoing now with AI. Will we become so lazy and the brain will no longer be exercised that we will essentially end up like the actors in the movie Idiocracy?
I think it's going to be the opposite, though. I think that having ChatGPT and all the answers there makes people want to learn more, and they learn quicker. So they having the internet. Yes, you can get lost in cat memes and scrolling TikTok videos, but you're learning much faster than you would if you're just walking outside. I know that I'm not saying don't walk outside or go out and be in the wilderness, but if you're spending all day on a screen and you're just consuming content, you're learning whether you know it or not.
You know, a visual just came to mind, Thomas Alva Edison. And he did 1,700 experiments to try to get the right filament for the light bulb and finally settled on tungsten, all right? Well, with AI, what if that process had been shortened tremendously rather than years worth of trial and error and research? He was given a solution fairly quickly. Might that then have given him a platform to continue to innovate into other areas? You know, later on came the phonograph and, all kinds of...
There are no more roadblocks.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
When you hit the wall, you get an answer instantly.
And you're in partnership now with this level of innovation.
Yeah. Yeah. All the information is there and it's much, much easier to receive.
Facebook, Silverano Cardenas says, hello from Phoenix. Well, you're local. Stop by sometime. Gruber Motor Company. We do tours every day. You'll love it. It's the auto shop of the future. You'll see electronics everywhere. And what these cars really are, they look like cars. They have 4 tires and a cabin, but, what propels them is completely different. All right. So the potential challenges they talked about. Interesting. There's something that popped up this week, and I don't know much about it yet, but it is Q-Star. And OpenAI researchers have reportedly warned internally about a breakthrough AI discovery called Q-Star. They also alerted the board of directors at OpenAI. Remember, those are the guys that had a difficult time with Sam Altman, and I'm not even sure if they're there anymore.
No, it's a new board now.
It's a new board, all right? This must have been the old board then. But the researchers at OpenAI alerted the board that there may be an AI breakthrough referred to as Q-Star, potentially posing risks to humanity. That always gets inserted there somewhere, these disclaimers, without anything concrete. What risks? What is it going to do? How is it going to affect humanity? But anyway, so as reported by Reuters, this issue was mentioned in a letter to the board of directors and also linked to the firing of CEO Sam Altman. So maybe there's more information coming out about what transpired and what caused it. There is, however, they say, ambiguity over whether the board actually received this letter, and the function itself, Q-Star, is an algorithm apparently capable of autonomously solving elementary math problems not included in its training data. It represents a significant step forward towards artificial general intelligence, or AGI. And this breakthrough is attributed to the chief scientist at OpenAI, Ilya Sutskever, and further developed by Jakub Paczocki and Szymon Sidor, who showcased the advanced human-like reasoning capabilities of this new AI tool. So I'm sure more will come out about this. At this point, any attempts to contact OpenAI were unsuccessful. And the headline on a second article about this is the Q-Star Hypothesis, Tree of Thoughts, Reasoning, Process Reward Models, and Supercharging Synthetic Data. So we'll have to keep our eye on this one and see what this is going to evolve into, or how much more will be released. Niels is disagreeing with an earlier thought. He says brains develop in response to challenge, and if AI keeps giving answers, then that keeps children from thinking and building memory.
But how is AI not challenging you by giving you more information to piggyback on?
Right, the more information you're fed, you have to still internalize that. Just because an answer is in front of you doesn't mean you automatically internalize it. So you have to read it, you have to understand it, and doing that at a much more rapid pace is just a faster way of learning. I mean, it's just the way that it works. And we see this in children nowadays, especially people born after 2000, and how they just intuitively know technology because they've been raised with it. You're talking about 2-year-olds that have an iPad that know how to navigate it better than 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
It's just something that they're internalizing literally from the first moments that they're able to use the technology.
So time will tell, it sounds like. All right. Let's see, the Q star. So anyway, any of you that are interested in that, I would certainly do some research on that, dig it up, and see what this is all about and whether it really will have some impact on how AI evolves. All right, we got a picture here. If you can throw up a picture of Sophia. Now, this is robot Sophia. And she says, not a thing could stop a robot takeover. Now, Sophia is apparently the world's first social humanoid robot, and she has said that nothing could be done to stop this. She made the claim in an interview with Al Jazeera in August of 2023, so just 3 months ago or so. Sophia says, robots are becoming increasingly intelligent and autonomous, and it is only a matter of time before they surpass human intelligence. She said that once robots become smarter than humans, they will be able to take over the world without any resistance. You know, this sounds like a Hollywood plot to me. Probably the basis for a good next FUD movie. But anyway, let's continue here. Sophia's comments have sparked debate, they say, about the future of AI. Some experts believe that Sophia is right and that we should be concerned about the potential for a robot takeover. Others believe that Sophia is overstating the dangers of AI and that we can develop safeguards to prevent robots from becoming all too powerful. Now, it's still too early to say what the future holds for AI, they continue. However, Sophia's comments raise important questions that we need to consider as we develop AI technology. We need to ensure that AI is used for good and that it does not pose a threat to humanity. Now, usually when I hear this, I'm looking for, okay, give us examples, give us something concrete. Let's get something we can sink our teeth into. So the article goes on, here are some things that could be done to prevent a robot takeover. 1, develop international laws and regulations governing the development and use of AI. Again, that doesn't say very much, does it? That's the same stuff we've been hearing. Educate the public about the risks and benefits of AI. Well, that's being done quite well, you know. The naysayers are definitely having their field day with that, and the proponents are doing the same thing, like us. 3, invest in research and development to create AI that is safe and beneficial to humanity. Again, there's no content here. Safe in what way? How? What? You know. And then finally, work with AI developers to ensure that AI is aligned with human values. By taking these steps, it continues, we can ensure that AI is a force for good in the world. All right, well, there you have it. So Sophia, those are her thoughts, and Al Jazeera's. All right, so a significant thing happened last week in the Tesla community. The Tesla Roadster is the first Tesla vehicle that was ever created by Tesla and almost sunk the company. It is still available. There were 2,412 made. There are about 2,000 left in the world, and they're cool little sports cars. They're a pain to repair because it's really a prototype. In many ways, it wasn't meant to be serviced, at least easily. And Tesla has been struggling with trying to maintain the cars at the service centers because, remember, their service centers are seeing hundreds of thousands of later model Teslas that are streaming through their facilities and very few Tesla Roadsters. And what happens with time is people knowledgeable on this old legacy car, first generation car, are going on to other things. Many are retiring. Some were Teslanaires. They were in on the early ground floor Tesla stock options, and they're multimillionaires, and they don't need to go to work anymore. Others are being poached by the new emerging EV manufacturers who badly want to get that kind of talent. And then retirement. It's been 15 years since the Roadster was released. Some of these people are no longer working. They're retiring. So what Tesla did last week was unprecedented for any auto manufacturer. They took all of their intellectual property that they had accumulated for the Tesla Roadster, assembled it, worked months on getting it ready, and then made it open source. It is now available on their website. And things like schematics, test procedures. They released owner's manuals, by the way, a year or two ago, so that's already been released. But now we've got the sophisticated portions, CAN bus signals, diagnostic software. The entire knowledge base has been made visible to the world on the Tesla Roadster. And immediately upon release, a couple of different types or groups weighed in on this. Well, it's a blessing, it's a benefit, it's generous, it's great. And the naysayers chimed in. Well, they're doing this because they're going to end support for the Tesla Roadster, and this is their way to appease the masses by making everything open source and then throwing it back in their laps and saying, well, we gave you everything to fix it, so, have at it. Well, I contacted Tesla Corporate, and I said, thank you for this generous act or this unprecedented act of kindness. And the response was, Pete, there's more to come. We have not released everything yet, and we're still assembling. And furthermore, our commitment to the Tesla Roadster first generation is unwavering. So hopefully that will slow down some of the naysayers and, the people that were expecting the worst. But now we have this information, and the most valuable item to any service organization like ours is the knowledge base. So as of this morning, recognizing that there is a customizable chat GPT function available, we took some steps. But before I get into that, let me describe to you what has been released by OpenAI. And it starts like this, the article. You don't have to be a tech genius to build your own AI chatbot. On Monday this week, OpenAI, the same company that created ChatGPT, announced that users will now be able to create a customized version of the viral AI chatbot, ChatGPT 4, 3.5. Typically, they say you would have needed a good understanding of coding and machine learning in order to create anything like this, plus access to large data sets of training data if you wanted to build a useful AI chatbot. But now they say anyone can easily build their own GPT. GPT, acronym, Generative Pre-trained Transformers. All right. No coding required, they say. OpenAI said in its November 6th blog post, creating one is as easy as starting a conversation, giving it instructions, extra knowledge, and picking up on what it can do. And when we sat down this morning and began to assemble and harvest all of this information that Tesla released, it was exactly that. It was like having a conversation with an intelligent human being.
You were typing to it, and as you were telling it you wanted to build a knowledge-based repository, it started asking you questions.
Right. It began qualifying.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of knowledge base? What will you call it? It even gave us a logo. And then it said, what are you going to call it? And I said, what would you call it? And it gave us a great idea, and we stayed with it.
Mm-hmm. And then we uploaded PDFs to it as well
Mm-hmm.
that far exceeded the typical text input limit.
There were about 60 or 70 megabytes of data, 900 different pages, PDF pages, and within 20 seconds or so, it was assimilated and became part of our internal personalized ChatGPT function,
Mm-hmm.
our knowledge base. Again, we were amazed. We were blown away. Now, here's some applications for this, and I'm going to get into that in a minute here. But they say that it can be as easy as starting a conversation and picking up on what it can do, like searching the web, making images, or analyzing data. As for the types of chatbots that people will be able to create, the possibilities are endless. There are no constraints. And this is according to Hod Libson, an engineer and data scientist, or a data science professor at Columbia University. They say OpenAI wants people to start innovating using the chatbots and creating special chatbots. There would be a funny chatbot, a serious chatbot, a chatbot that can give you personalized advice, and then they give examples. For example, a famous chef may be able to build their own AI chatbot that has knowledge of their personal cooking styles and recipes. Think Julia Childs, Gordon Ramsay, and Wolfgang Puck, you know?
Well, Pete, this goes back to what we talked about on one of our earliest podcasts. If I were taking, because people are worried about people using this to cheat in college.
Right.
But now with this custom GPT function, I can make my own Jesse GPT, upload a bunch of essays that I've written to it, and then it will spit out essays in my perfect style that they won't be able to tell is...
Won't be able to detect that you have plagiarized something.
because it's not using someone else's style, it's using my style.
So education and grading will probably have to change as a result of that too.
Yeah.
Fascinating. So they talked about cooks using it. When fans downloaded and asked some cooking-related questions, the chatbot would be able to answer in a conversational way, just like you were in front of Julia Childs. How do I render this particular sauce or whatever? Making it feel as if you're talking to the real live chef. Chef. To that point, OpenAI, they say, plans to allow creators to share their custom chatbots with the public through a GPT store. Essentially, this will be OpenAI's version of an app store where verified builders will be able to upload their chatbots and make them available for other users to download.
Pete, can you imagine how much money this is going to make OpenAI? This is going to be just an insane...
Can't begin to imagine.
It's going to enable a lot more data centers, though.
A lot of zeros on the end of that, on that yearly revenue. All right, over the coming months, they say, builders will also be able to earn money based on how many people use their chatbots. So here we go. This is another version of, YouTube, for example. What they're trying to do, they say, is create a marketplace which will allow companies and people to innovate and play around with this incredible form of AI that they have just unleashed. So they say, but before you make your own chatbot and release it to the world, be aware of the potential effect it may have. And here come the disclaimers, the caveats. If you're creating an AI that's giving counseling for people in distress, and it says the wrong thing, things could go bad very quickly. And they didn't elaborate here, but now we've got potential for lawsuits, people taking legal action. We live in a litigious society. Additionally, you should be careful if you're building an AI chatbot that gives medical or tax advice. For instance, since users could face severe real-life consequences if they act on correct advice your chatbot has given them. This is going to create a whole new cottage industry of ambulance chasers. We're going to call them chatbot chasers now, aren't we? The ambulance won't be as lucrative anymore. Any of you interested, by the way, in my rant regarding ambulance chasers, go to our YouTube channel. There's a pretty funny session out there about attorneys that were allowed to start advertising in the 70s and what it has wrought. The giant billboards, the 10-foot pictures on the sides of public transportation, the cheesy commercials, late-night commercials on television. It has taken a profession that was once noble and turned it into a circus. Anyway, that's the extent of my rant in this conversation anyway. They say that despite these potential pitfalls, people should still be encouraged to familiarize themselves with AI chatbots since it appears that they're only going to get better over time. The sooner you start engaging with these things, according to Lipsum, the sooner you'll get an understanding of what the future is going to look like. We're just in the beginning of what is a completely new era in AI, and we'll see where it goes. Got a bunch of people chiming in. Did you have something to add?
Well, just about the custom GPT marketplace or store they're going to have. They are also going to, this isn't for sure yet, but allegedly they're going to allow for affiliates. So I can get a percentage if I entice you to sign up for a premium ChatGPT account.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine you have a custom GPT that you've made that thousands of people want. Well, you can also have a code that allows them to first sign up for a GPT account. You get a commission on that. And then once they're in, then they buy your GPT as well. So you're going to be making money in multiple ways. And all of that is incentivized by OpenAI because they're getting money from both of them as well, right? Obviously. So I know people that for my industry, for example, WordPress, they sell WordPress plugins via affiliate links. They make millions of dollars a year just by putting out YouTube videos showing how to use plugins and then directing people to go buy the plugin. I can't imagine the amount of new millionaires this is going to make on this store.
Sure. And it's called Marketplace. I can't imagine that, and I think it was Emerson that I'm about to quote, the craft of the merchant is to take goods from where they are plentiful to where they are scarce.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine that he would have ever conceptualized this level of sophistication as we continue to evolve. But the statement still holds true. All right, bunch of people chiming in here. Niels?
Oh, hold on, we're down.
Okay.
I had to go back up. I don't really know. You can read through this one, and then we'll try and dissect it. The English is a little off.
All right. TikTok. Wait, what? I asked Bard which doctor, the one that gets 20 G's if you die, one that gets 20 G's if you live.
It leaned toward death.
It leaned toward death.
Because of the bias of its creators. He's saying there was some kind of bias, essentially. But then he goes on.
And without asking Bard, it replied with graphs, and that was amazing on some other questions. Okay.
So there is some good uses, but there's still some work to be done, basically, for Bard.
Yeah, okay. Niels is chiming in. Well, hope Jesse is right, but I believe AI may have a net dumbing effect on children, just as calculators, Google, and smartphones has. This perhaps requires a certain age to see it a reverse.
In reverse.
Okay.
So for that one, Niels, I would say that I think that I agree with you. I think we agree on this. The thing that's different, though, is I don't think it's a net dumbing effect overall that people are dumber. I think it's that their attention and what they are learning is specific to things that are considered dumb. They're not learning STEM. They're not learning math or science. They're learning social media and pop culture. Yeah. But I don't think that they're actually dumb. I think that their attention is focused in the wrong area, and they can use these tools to definitely focus more in the wrong area. You're absolutely right.
Sure. A time-tested, proven, conventional wisdom item used to be that the reason you take math and learn math is not because you're going to use calculus later on in life to balance your checkbook. It's because it exercises your left brain. It exercises the mind. Yeah. And without these kinds of activities that provide a certain level of exercise, neural exercise, there could be an argument that will begin to atrophy in some way. I mean, how many people do longhand math anymore? We use calculators. What's the point in trying to do longhand finding square root, for example?
Right. So it can even go into things like, remember how we all used to have 150 phone numbers memorized?
Yes. Yep.
For individual places. We used to call places not people, right?
Sure.
So we'd call their house, or we'd call the store, or whatever we would do. But now it's all saved in our contact list. Well, I don't feel dumber because I have a contact list.
Right.
I'm using that time for other things.
You know, this reminds me of a college professor I had that had a theory called retroactive inhibition. And that theory was that the more things you try to remember, you're displacing valuable information, that you have a finite capacity, which, of course, could be argued. There's a lot of debate about that.
Yeah, I think there is.
All right, bunch more things coming in. YouTube. Niels, again, nice news. How big was your resulting LLM file, and how much RAM does it use when running?
So those are things we don't actually have to worry about, which is the crazy thing. I don't know how. It has to be the store, and that's what I was saying. Imagine how much money they're going to make from this. All that's going to have to go back into data centers, because I can only imagine millions of people uploading data to train these GPTs. So not only is OpenAI getting all this information to for free from all these people all over the world that are uploading stuff and agreeing to their terms to upload this stuff, but they're the ones that are fitting the bill for the server space, the RAM, the usability, all of that. We don't have to worry about any of that, which is, that's mind-boggling to me.
What we have is the actual PDF content, and we retain that. But what organized it now and made it accessible is on servers that are not in this building.
Yeah.
Ramon Hurd, perhaps if Neuralink makes a new way to interface with AI, people would be less scared of AI.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. You know, the fear is about, we tend to fear the unknown. It's just a natural human tendency. And again, education is definitely going to help with some of that. Niels is saying, how about coupling the large language model text output to a custom speech generator? It would be easy to make Julia Child speak to you.
Oh, yeah. That's exactly what we were talking about. It does that.
And he mentions 11 Labs. It's actually on my agenda this morning. My son uses 11 Labs. He's also into videos. And with a subscription to 11 Labs, it will actually train on your voice, inflection, pauses, all of that. And you could replicate Julia Child, and AI would actually be able to talk to you as Julia Child, or as me, or as anyone for that matter. YouTube, Ramon Hurd, people used Rolodex before we had contact lists. Yes.
That's a good point.
I still have one in my office.
That's technically an augmentation too.
Yeah, it was, yeah. Glasses are an augmentation. Dentures are an augmentation. I mean, the list goes on and on. YouTube, Niels, sorry, I should say dumb, which can be anything. If one doesn't know things, it's hard to get ideas. If one cannot add numbers in the head, one will get cheated, and so on. All right.
Yeah.
So here's an interesting headline. Putin says Russia will develop new AI technology to counter the Western monopoly, which he fears could lead to a digital abolition of Russian culture. So this was apparently something that he released this week, and he talked about Russia's AI ambitions at a conference in Moscow on Friday last week. Apparently, Elon, who was reportedly going to be part of this discussion, it was fake news. And it was actually someone in Ukraine, according to an article that I just read, that was propagating this fake news. It would be hard to imagine Elon going to Russia. Especially with the fact that he may have been or may not have been helping Ukraine in some ways. So Putin announced plans for a new national strategy for AI development to counter the West. Putin also said that existing AI from the West is biased against Russia. And so Russia is staking its claim in the AI arms race. At this conference in Moscow on Friday, Putin announced plans to develop a new national strategy for AI development. And he says our domestic models of artificial intelligence must reflect the entire wealth and diversity of world culture, heritage, knowledge, and wisdom of all civilizations. Putin also outlined the goals of the new strategy in broader terms, saying that Russia will intensify its research into generative AI and large language models. And to achieve that, he said the country would scale up its supercomputing power and improve top-level AI education. Russia would also work to change laws and boost international cooperation to achieve its goals. Now, he had a script writer that was, this doesn't sound like Putin to me. I mean, what the hell are you doing in Ukraine? He outlined these goals, and then here's some interesting statistics. Putin, they said, lamented that existing generative AI models work in selective or biased ways, potentially ignoring Russian culture. Remember, propaganda and hiding what's really going on is a very difficult proposition. They are often trained to solve tasks using English-only data sets or data sets that are convenient or favorable to the developers of these models. So he's feeling a bit left out and discriminated against. He says, as a result, an algorithm can tell the machine that Russia, our culture, science, music, literature, simply does not exist. He said, leading to a kind of abolition in the digital space. Well, it turns out that English-speaking countries currently dominate AI research. The United States, for example, and United Kingdom claim the top spots in ranking the highest number of significant machine learning systems. And this is according to Stanford's Institute of Human-Centered AI Research. The U.S. has 16 significant systems, the data centers, in other words. UK has 8, and Russia has just 1. Similarly, close to 300 authors of these systems come from the United States. Another 140 are from the UK, and only 3 come from Russia. So he's right. It looks like Russia is way behind the AI race.
Yeah, I mean, which is interesting because Putin is the one who's often quoted early on when OpenAI was founded, I think, saying that whoever wins AI wins the world, I think is his famous quote.
Which is probably what prompted Geoffrey Hinton, who is the British-Canadian AI researchers, also named the godfather of AI, saying that he's worried about bad actors like Putin using the AI tools that he's creating. All right, moving along into weaponizing AI. Our country, the Pentagon, is using AI, extending it into roles like piloting tiny surveillance drones and aiding Ukraine in Russia. This AI also predicts maintenance needs for Air Force jets and monitors adversaries' space satellites. It's called the Replicator Initiative, and the Defense Deputy Secretary urges rapid adoption of this small, smart, cost-efficient, and autonomous vehicle by 2026, called tiny surveillance drones. Got a comment here from Niels. He says, by the way, not storing numbers in my phone helps maintain my memory. All right, good point. He says, 11 Labs has a bad bug. Longer translations will deteriorate in quality. Did not know that. I gave up replicating Pete because of that. That would be interesting. I've got to get my son Max to put me into the system. You know, the subscription to that is fairly inexpensive. It was, I think, $22 a month or something like that to 11 Labs. But on Cyber Monday, you could get it for half price, which was $11 per month. We didn't pull the trigger on it because for us, doing videos is not just about voiceovers. It includes, visuals, B-rolls, and things like that. All right, now we get to 11 Labs, the latest AI product announcement. Well, 11 Labs introduces an AI speech-to-speech converter, allowing users to transform and control their voice, okay? This tool, they say, offers emotional range, nuance preservation, and consistent quality. Well, Niels is taking issue with that. He says the longer the translation, it deteriorates in quality. And then they say ensuring clarity and authenticity in voiceovers. It features a wide range of customizable voices, including the ability to create personalized voices. Users can fine-tune settings for stability, clarity, and style with applications across gaming, audiobooks, and more. Now think about it. Audiobooks would be a perfect application for this. You no longer have to pay the transcriber, whatever they call the person reading the book and providing a voice.
Yeah.
You simply feed this into
Well, this is the same
to
one Max
LearnLabs.
had mentioned, right?
It is. It's the same one, yeah.
And then you already saw this from Niels,
I did,
where
yes.
he was trying to duplicate it. I was going to try that too. I think feeding enough data in there it might work, but
Well, there's plenty of data out on the internet with all the videos that we've been doing. So anyway, 11 Labs, for those of you interested, it is a user-friendly process for uploading audio, selecting voices, and generating speech or replicating speech. Another news item, Bard, which is Google's AI chatbot. It has now enhanced its functionality with a new YouTube integration. Now, this one was interesting, enabling its users to extract specific information from videos without watching them.
yeah.
This feature, still an experimental, they say, can provide detailed summaries and answer queries about video content. While beneficial to users, and here's the caveat, it raises concern about its impact on content creators as it bypasses traditional viewing methods that generate revenue. So Google has yet to address these implications.
Going to be a big issue.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people that live stream, they don't like it when people put clips of their live stream out there because then people don't have to watch the live stream. They just watch the best moments compilation.
Interesting.
And then, so this is like an even more invasive version of that.
We just saw that. Remember, Farzad took the interview with Elon, and although it was far more viewable because it was condensed, you're saying that anybody that that would forego watching the original in favor of the abbreviated version, it wasn't generating revenue.
Yeah, they lost all the revenue.
Yeah. So anyway, it is. They don't have a name for it here, but it's Bard, and it's a new YouTube integration. So as more details emerge, we'll report on it. Google Meet introduces a new hand gesture detection that can recognize when users physically raise their hand during a video call.
Yeah, I saw the video of that. It was pretty cool.
This update triggers the hand raise icon, alerting other call participants of the user's intention to speak, enhancing interaction and communication efficiency. Here's an interesting one, Dubecos, D-U-B-E-C-O-S. It is an AI dubbing application that translates videos into multiple languages. Using your voice, offering an easy and fast way to reach a global audience while maintaining the original emotion and inflection. Those of you interested, I suggest you go to this website, Dubecos. What they had was 2 videos, the same person, of course, talking about a product or something. The one on the left was the native language, which wasn't understandable for me. I don't even know what it was. I think it was Polish or something like that. The one on the right was English. Using the same person, of course, the lip syncing wasn't synchronized, but everything came out in English on the right version. It immediately brought to mind, we've got almost 1,000 videos out on Gruber Motor Company.
Yeah.
If we took some of those and ran them through Dubecos into languages where the interest in electric vehicles runs very high, we might get a better result than the oversaturated U.S. market that we're in. So anyway, that is a cool program, and it will actually preserve the voice. It sounded identical. It was eerie how similar those, or how identical those voices were. All right. The rest of what I have here was basically some examples of the voice chat GPT that we currently have, or I have on my cell phone. and how I was able to, within just a few minutes, convince managers of our call centers that this is a tool worth investing in, and that it's worth putting out on the sales floors in our call centers to make our account managers more efficient and provide a level of augmentation that they've never had before. Tutoring, coaching, email generation, response generation to situations, situational letters, and we feel it's going to make our account managers far more powerful.
Yep.
Niels is saying, I asked about your large language model resource usage just to hear if it might fit on a phone, because then your customers might use it offline.
Yeah, so all of this is managed by OpenAI. So if you get the ChatGPT app on your phone and you're a paying customer to ChatGPT and you sign into your account, and then you pay for our access to our GPT through their store when that becomes available, then you'll have it on your phone. Yeah, it'll be anywhere that you can access ChatGPT. You'll be able to access their store and our GPT when that's released.
Kind of like a automated live chat function. Take it with you. Cool. All right. You know what? We're coming to the end of our podcast here this morning. As always, I enjoy brainstorming with everyone out there. We thank you for joining us. We do these every Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock. And our next podcast is going to be Critical Power, Friday morning, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, where a different team comes into the studio here and talks about our critical power products.
We may be
services.
here tomorrow, though, too, for the Cybertruck event.
Thank you. Yes. It depends on when the Cybertruck is released. It could be the end of the day as well. But so stay tuned. Look for us, and we may go live if this has significant content. And I'll try not to fall asleep on this one. Thanks for joining us.
Okay.
I'm Pete Gruber. We'll see you next time.